Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting, fun-filled episode of the XFFL Show. I'm your host, Josh Mitchell, also known as the head coach, captain, and owner of the New England Nexus and the commissioner of the XFFL. And again, the host of the show. I have so many titles, so many things I do. Uh, it's nerve-wracking as well. Anyway, let's kind of get right into it. You kind of know the formula by now. We go over what happened in the previous week. We interview the top scorer. Last week was me. Spoiler, it was not me this week. So you're going to see another face. And then we'll preview the games for this coming week. So with that being said, week 9 of the XFFL season has come and gone. I kind of alluded this to the last week. If you get around 110, 120 points, you're kind of in that safe, kind of not safe zone. Like you want to really get over that hunch, but if you can get in that area, you'll be fine. In some cases, that was exactly the case. In other cases, all you needed was 100 points, or more specifically, 101.64. And that is how I lose. The North Carolina Carpetbaggers, head by Zach Phillips, defeat me, Josh, of the New England Nexus, 101.64 to 92.34. What can I say? Najee Harris, 16.8 points. We were hoping, we were praying that he wasn't going to do much. He actually didn't do too much, but he did enough, unfortunately. Robert Woods, 17 points. I went to bed during halftime, woke up. He had a lot more points than 3 from halftime, unfortunately. On my side of things, Justin Herbert was the MVP because literally he's the only one that actually did something. 31.64 points for him. Rashad Bateman, a waiver wire transaction, 10.2 points. And literally everybody else just didn't do it, unfortunately. Coming off the buys, though, Mike Evans, Leonard Fournette, and Terry McLaurin will return to the team this week. But as Matthew Berry says, as pretty much everyone on the fantasy show says, hashtag free Aaron Jones, 5.3 points. You don't like that. On to our next game. And oh boy, what do you know? The Malone Mutiny are on a 3-game win streak. You can believe it. 111.58 to 87.94. Jalen Hurts, 16.6 points. Pretty good. Devontae Smith. Haven't called that name in a positive light in quite some time. 22.6 points for him. Christian McCaffrey, welcome back. 14.6 points. Miami's defense, 17 points. Very nice. The other side of things, Lamar Jackson did very well, 32.6. Alvin Kamara did very well, 20.4 points. And Derek is pretty much in the same boat as me. No one else did anything, including Brian Edwards, his boy, 0.00 points. It happens, but again, congrats to Chris on 3 in a row and only 1 game out of a playoff spot. Who would have thought? Moving on to our next matchup, the Cleveland Clowns take down the Charlotte Outlaws, 121.24 to 108.06. Jimmy G getting the start because Kyler Murray decided we're not playing today, but he did fine. 20.3 points on the day. Hunter Renfrow now clearly the number 1 in Las Vegas, 17.9 points. Nick Chubb, pretty good. 30.3 points. However, has COVID, needs 2 negative tests over a 24-hour period in order for him to return. So his likelihood that he may come back against the New England Patriots, we'll see. On the other side of things, Josh Allen, terrible job. And I'm not referring to the outside linebacker / defensive end Josh Allen because he did a phenomenal job. The quarterback, Josh Allen, not so much. 2 interceptions on the day, a fumble on the day. Oh boy, pretty bad. Cooper Kupp did his normal thing, 11 catches, 95 yards. That's good. And Naheem Hines actually led the way for the Charlotte Outlaws with 20.8 points. Did not see that one coming. Onto our second to last matchup, and that was the New York Potato Skins taking down the Big Ben Blackbeards, 128.9 to 115.38. Now, looking at Brian's team, the Potato Skins, you're thinking if you're starting Tyrod Taylor and Pat Freiermuth, chances aren't that good. Well, they're good because Pat Freiermuth decided to go for 21.3 points on the day. Brian subbing out tight ends left and right, picking them off waivers, free agency, adding them to his team. Picked the right guy. 2 touchdowns on the day, 5 catches, 43 yards. Other things to note: Jonathan Taylor, 34 points. Yeah, he's a top 5 running back, maybe top 3. Kind of know what your opinion is. On the other side of things, Cowboys stunk it up. Dak had a good game, though. Well, I don't say a good game. He had a decent game on 19.88 points. CeeDee Lamb stunk it up. Mike Williams stunk it up. But newly acquired Cordero Patterson, 19.6 points, 126 receiving yards on the day. My goodness, that dude is an MVP. At least for the Malone Mutiny, when he was part of the Malone Mutiny. Maybe it'd be the MVP of the XFFL. Who knows? But overall, just an underwhelming performance for the Big Ben Blackbeards, hoping to bounce back this coming week. And our final matchup in the Something's Gotta Give match, coming off a 5-game losing streak in the Rochester Revenge or a 4-game losing streak in the Railroad Blue Waves. And the streak now is at -5 for the Railroad Blue Waves as Scott Sheehan and the Rochester Revenge take them down 145.94 to 100.92. Patrick Mahomes wasn't the reason. Stephon Diggs wasn't the reason. Justin Jefferson wasn't the reason. James Conner is the reason. Maybe that's his new nickname. Who knows? Because Chase Edmonds is out for a couple of weeks. 40.3 points, 77 receiving yards, 96 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns on the run, 1 through receiving. Excuse me? And this is with Colt McCoy as the quarterback for that game. Yeah, no one saw that coming. Apparently Scott did, but we'll get to him in just a few. Ryan Tannehill for the Blue Waves didn't do it. 15 points. Mari Cooper stuck it up because the Cowboys stuck it up. Keenan Allen starting to slide back into the number 1 wide receiver for the Chargers. 22.4 points on the day. Dalvin Cook only 15. Myles Gaskin 15. Again, just a couple of players would have slid that way. Maybe something could have happened, but again, he did. If it wasn't for James Conner, we're looking at a much closer game, and B, potentially like a kind of swing of things. Because if you take out the 40 points, it's only 100 to 105. So, well, regardless, Scott Sheehan, without a doubt, this week is our highest point total getter. And it makes sense at all, but that's okay. But it is my privilege, it is my honor to welcome the reigning and defending XFFL champion, good friend of mine, Scott Sheehan. Scott, how goes it?
I can't believe I've made it here. This is the top of the mountain. This is a dream come true. I just want to thank Big Tone for his team losing. Big Tone, couldn't have done it without you, buddy. Your team really shitting the bed after Derrick Henry getting injured just really brightens everyone's day. I was debating on whether or not I wanted to be a hero or a villain in this league, and I'm feeling villain. So, yeah, feeling like a bit of a heel. Bit of a losing streak there. Started out really strong. But this is without Patrick Mahomes doing well. Wait until he comes back.
Yeah. So let's dive in a little bit about your win. Kind of discussed this already. Patrick Mahomes not really doing too much as of late. But Diggs, Jefferson, that's kind of been your 2 core wide receivers the past couple of years. And then, of course, James Conner too. Did you know that you were going to play James Conner? When was the moment you're like, yep, I got to play James Conner? Or was that kind of throughout?
Well, when you don't draft any running backs, really, you just plug and play, and you just keep plugging and playing the whole season. And I think, my strategy last year, my strategy this year, it's been working so far. I mean, just have solid wide receivers, plug and play running backs because they're injured so often, and just you hope that Patrick Mahomes does amazing things.
All right, we got, of course, to talk about the elephant in the room. Just breaking down his stats the last 3 weeks, because that's kind of been what's happening. 8 points one week, 15 points one week, and then last week against Green Bay, only 10 points. I'm looking at your team. You got Kirk Cousins on the bench. Is there ever even an inkling in your head to make the switch, or what?
I think it would have to depend on matchup, but I know immediately as soon as I play Kirk Cousins over Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins is going to do what Kirk Cousins does. Sorry, Mike. And Patrick Mahomes is going to do what Patrick Mahomes does. So I am scared to death to do that. But if Patrick Mahomes is playing an amazing defense and Kirk Cousins is playing potentially the Lions that same week, that might not even be the best example. But, they play twice a year, same division. So if it was a scenario like that, I'd have to look at the stats and see what I liked better. But I know the minute I don't start Mahomes, he will be back to being Mahomes. I blame his brother.
Is that it? You
Yep.
blame his brother?
Too many TikToks. See, look what happened to Juju.
Very good point. So looking down the line, the trade deadline is November 20th. I know you already made a move. You got James Robinson from Chris in the Mutiny, who surprisingly are on a 3-game winning streak. But I guess give me your thoughts on that as a whole, on Chris and his.
I think I'm not surprised. Chris, very cerebral player. Knew he was starting from behind. Had to pull off a few different pickups early in the season. Cordell Patterson, who knew? I have him in another one of my leagues. Thank God I picked him up early on because he's been incredible. And I think for me, picking up James Robinson is kind of insurance. Once Chris Carson comes back, I've got some pretty good depth at running back. And I think that really, as long as Patrick Mahomes at some point can get back to being Patrick Mahomes, it's going to be hard to beat Waller, 3 solid wide receivers, and then, depending on what the matchups are for either James Robinson, James Connors, Melvin Gordon. Who's my other one?
You have Boston Scott.
Oh, never. No, I guess three running backs to kind of plug and play with, but and also having Dallas's tight end as well is nice because it makes sure that no one else can pick him up. Because I know for tight ends this year, it's few and far between. So, I think that having him on my bench is he's going to be there for a while.
So I guess it's safe to say you're full steam ahead, playoff push no matter what.
Oh, I'm ready for some more revenge from the Rochester Revenge. This is the Rochester Revenge Tour.
The Revenge Tour as the defending champion.
Yes.
Go figure. All right. Now, with that being said, at the end of the show, I kind of let you have the floor. You're facing off against the Alpine Extreme in what is known as the William Jackson III Revenge game. So have the floor and just tell us your thoughts on everything, and don't be nice.
Derek, what can I say? Our matchup in the playoffs last year was stupendous, incredible, unforgettable, really. I mean, who could forget that magical game between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers where William Jackson III made my life. I was so ecstatic when he had pulled off the unthinkable and stopped your team from beating me, and then it led to me winning the title. I wish I had the trophy with me. It's in my office right now. Looking at your team, there's nothing really extreme about the extreme. I think it's going to be, I'd say a walk in the park, but I think that walking the park might actually be more difficult than what's going to happen this weekend. So, best of luck to everyone else in the league. I will be seeing you in the playoffs. And folks, I'm like the New England Patriots. I'm that team you really don't want to be playing toward the end of the year. So thank you, Josh, for having me on. And yeah, I'm going to be the Rochester Revenge soon enough. So putting the league on notice.
Those were some interesting words said by the Revenge and Scott Sheehan towards you, Mr. Palaki. So, with that being said, let's get right to it. Week 10 of the XFFL starts now with the previews. And, of course, we're going to start with the game we just talked about, and that is the Alpine Extreme taking on the Rochester Revenge. Patrick Holmes going against Vegas. Again, until Patrick Holmes does something decent again, I'm just going to chalk it up as an L for that one. But a big W is Stephon Diggs versus the Jets. I like that. If he sticks with it, Melvin Gordon versus Philadelphia, that should be very good as well. For some reason, Melvin Gordon's having a sort of resurgence. He knows Devontae Williams is on the side, so he's going to try to step it up. Tyler Lockett versus Green Bay. Russell Wilson supposedly is coming back, so we'll see about that. On the other side of things, Lamar Jackson versus Miami, a Thursday night game. Go Baltimore. Hashtag Dennis Pitta, not Ed Dixon. That's a very, what do they call it, a tasty matchup. Adam Action Total Thielen. I'm just going to call him Action Total. Who cares? Against the Chargers, that's kind of a toss-up for me. Kamara versus Tennessee. Again, I think that's a toss-up. Tennessee's kind of on a roll recently, and that defense is really good now. And then Mark Andrews, fellow tight end, against Miami. I'm gonna go with the Revenge. There's a lot of question marks on the Alpine Extreme when it comes to the wide receivers, the flex, how they're gonna play this out. So, yeah, I'm gonna take Rochester Revenge with this one. Moving on to our next game. Why not? New England Nexus taking on the Cleveland Clowns. Straight up, Justin Herbert versus Minnesota. Again, I think this is either going to be a very low-scoring game or a very high-scoring game, and I really hope it's a high-scoring game. Therefore, I get more points. I got Mike Evans and Leonard Fournette versus Washington, but then I have Terry McLaurin versus Tampa Bay. So 1 o'clock, that is going to be my total focus. Not really, but kind of. Other matchups, A.J. Brown versus New Orleans. New Orleans defense, pretty good, so I'm not really in favor of that. On the other side, Kyler Murray is going up against the Carolina defense. So I'm assuming he's going to play. But if he isn't, this is looking like Jimmy G. Maybe somebody else. Yeah, I don't know. Tyreek Hill versus Vegas. Hunter Renfrow versus Kansas City. And then the biggest question mark of all, will Nick Chubb suit up and play? If he does, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game for that side of things. If not, I think I can get this one. I'm going to pick... Yeah. I'm going to say Nexus. Sorry. Are going to win. Very close one if Nick Chubb plays. If he doesn't play, I think I can get away with it. Mike Evans and Leonard Fournette, even if they don't both go off, I think one of them should at least go off for at least 20, 25 points. So we'll see. But, of course, I'm going to pick me, unless it was clearly not. Next matchup. North Carolina Carpetbaggers taking on the Riverhead Blue Waves. Blue Waves on a 5-game losing streak. Well, North Carolina Carpetbaggers are in first place. Tail of the tape. Aaron Rodgers. Does he have COVID still? Is he going to be able to play? If he is, looking good. If not, does he still roll with Derek Carr? Does he pick up someone else? Kind of for the lock-ins, though. Robert Woods versus San Francisco. Chris Godwin versus Washington. Najee Harris versus Detroit. put up the sparklers, put up the fireworks. That is your key player. Pretty much key matchup right there. On the other side of things, will Russell Wilson play? Is he healthy enough? If that's the case, we have a head-to-head in real life and in fantasy in Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. If not, Ryan Tannehill probably stood up. Devontae Adams versus Seattle. Again, kind of dependent on Aaron Rodgers. Dalvin Cook versus Chargers. Keenan Allen versus Minnesota. This could be a toss-up. If this, throwing everything out, throwing out wins, throwing out losses, throwing out winning streaks, losing streaks, River Blue Jays should win this just for the stacked up if Russell Wilson is indeed healthy. But then again, they don't have Derrick Henry. So then you look at the other side and you're like, oh, Zach and the Carpetbaggers should easily win this one. Aaron Rodgers, Robert Woods, Chris Godwin, Najee Harris, Austin Eckler. I don't know. Again, until you do something, as in you, the River Blue Waves, I will choose the North Carolina Carpetbaggers. You are the first seed for a reason. You did beat me by 9 points, and you only have to score 101. So, yeah, gonna stick with the Carpetbaggers. Moving on to our next matchup, it is the Big Ben Blackbeards taking on the Charlotte Outlaws. Again, you know Skipper's team. You know Jeff's team. Dallas. Ezekiel Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott against Atlanta. Very tasty matchup. Travis Kelce versus Vegas. Michael Williams versus Minnesota. But then you have Cordell Patterson versus Dallas too. So all eyes are on that matchup for the Skipper. The other side of things, Josh Allen versus the Jets. Either Josh Allen's going to fold or Josh Allen's going to step up and put the league on notice that last week was a mistake. And he's just afraid of somebody else who has his same exact name. Cooper Kupp versus San Francisco. Antonio Gibson versus Tampa Bay. He's kind of lower in projections. I've been noticing this in a lot of leagues. He's been getting out-touched by other running backs on the team, including J.D. McKissick. I don't know if that's a sign of things to come. I really hope it's not because he's in other leagues for me. And for Mike's sake, I hope it's not because Mike has him too. I'm going with the Big Ben Blackbeards. I think Dallas is going to get a huge wake-up call from last week against the Broncos. Dallas is a contender for the NFC. Falcons are not. If they are, prove me wrong. But I think this will be the week that Dak, CeeDee, and Zeke all do magically go over past their projections. Could be wrong. But I think that's my my projection pick. And in our final matchup, two very hot teams in the league. And when I say that, I mean one owns the top streak for winning with 4, and the other has the second streak for winning with 3. New York Potato Skins, the Malone Mutiny. This is something's got to give for wins. Who's going to get the L? Potato Skins, Tom Brady versus Washington. That looks nice. Jonathan Taylor versus Jacksonville. Looks nice, but again, Bills showed that they couldn't do anything against Jacksonville. Hawkinson versus Pittsburgh. Dale Henderson versus San Francisco. No Joe Mixon this week, so it looks like it will be Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, and Darrell Henderson. On the other side of things, Jalen Hurts versus Denver. Denver's coming off a huge win. Does that influence Eagles? I don't know. And he's sticking with so far with Devontae Smith. You got Jalen Waddle versus Baltimore. Christian McCaffrey versus Arizona. George Kittle. Welcome back to the starting lineup, bud. Going in against the Rams, so not so easy there. And then there's this all question mark. Will Odell Beckham Jr. suit up? I don't know. But I don't think Chris would put him in, even if that was the case. I'm sorry, with the New York Potato Skins. I like Tom Brady's matchup, and that's pretty much my sole basis of this. But no, for real, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, and Darrell Henderson all should be pretty solid this week, and fortunately, he has all three of them. And right now, Christian McCaffrey is your number one guy, obviously. Everyone else is kind of, yeah. So we'll see. So yeah, going with the potato skins on that one. And ladies and gentlemen, mainly gentlemen, because those are the ones that are watching the show. Ladies are watching. Thank you for watching. And thank you all for tuning in and watching for another fantastic episode of the XFFL Show. Going to be a good week. Going to be a very good week 10. Kind of separate a little bit more for the playoffs, obviously, just around the corner. 5 more regular season games left, and then we're kicking up the high gear. Will the Nexus make the playoffs? Will the Rochester Revenge continue their revenge tour as champion? Will the Alpine Extreme respond to the harsh words said by Scott Sheehan? And again, in the something gotta give game, will it be Brian or Chris that continues their winning streak? Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next week for another episode of the XFFL Show.